Hi, I'm Steve Vesterli, and this is Beneficial Intelligence, a new weekly podcast with stories and pragmatic information for CIOs and other IT leaders. This week, business cases. Imagine your senior vice president of sales coming into your office and saying, all our shops have been ordered to shut down. We have to start a web shop. Now, in some organizations, those that I call low-value maturity organizations, the IT manager says, sure thing, let's get right on it. Now, what's going to happen in that case is if your system becomes a success, despite you not really having agreed on a budget for it, then the senior vice president of sales is of course going to be claiming the benefit. Now, if the project is not a success, then what's going to happen is that the reason that is not a success is going to be laid at your feet. That's of course because IT was so expensive, they were spending so much money that our web shop doesn't make a profit. So if you have a low value maturity organization, that's the place where IT does not go into the discussion about the specific costs of the project and compare it to the business benefits. In a high value maturity organization, then the business is going to come to you with a business case. It might be something like, we have a turnover of $1 million per month on this project, on this product line. We have a contribution margin ratio of 20%. So that means that we're making $200,000 per month on this product line. We're expecting to be able to move 20% of that business online. So that's going to be $40,000 a month that we'll be making on the web shop. Now that's the business side. That's the business side of it. And they might also say, after lockdown, we're expecting to be able to make maybe 10% of our turnover in additional turnover from the web shop. So after lockdown, we're going to have $20,000 a month in extra income. That's one side of it. What you need in IT is to put up the other side of it. And the other side of it is going to be the initial investment and the cost per month. Now, it's crucial to get the cost per month to be part of this equation. And that's one of the things that often goes wrong in IT departments. So in IT, we have this tendency, we're thinking of a project. And once the project is over, then the systems just run themselves, which of course is not the case. So if you don't insist on a monthly budget for your project up front, then two things can happen, and both of them are bad. One of them is that if you just accept the responsibility for another system, then what's going to happen is next time somebody wants to implement another system, they're just going to be throwing it over to you and expecting you to run it without extra resources. So accepting anything without getting more resources is actually training the business to just give you more and more work without giving you more resources. Eventually, your poor overworked DBA team is going to come to you and say, we're running 500 databases now, we need an extra DBA. And you're going to have to go into a budget discussion saying, I need an extra FTE here for my DBA team. And nobody's going to understand why do you need that? Because you didn't need it before and you've just accepted all these systems. So that's one of the things that can happen, that you're training the business to just pour more work onto you. The other thing that might happen is that if you are accepting more work, somebody might say, well, if you can take that work on without extra resources, that means you were actually overstaffed, weren't you? That's not a discussion that you want to go into. So you want to have the monthly cost, you want to have that be part of the decision. So when the business comes up with this is what the profit side is, and then IT comes up with this is what it's going to cost. Say it's going to cost $150,000 to develop the system, and it's going to cost $15,000 a month to run it in manpower, in operations manpower, in cloud resources, whatever it is you need. When you have both sides, the income from the business and the cost from IT, you can bring these two together, and then you can figure out whether the project makes sense. In this case, with the numbers I just came up with, then we're going to have initially we're going to have an outlay, say $100,000 in marketing just to teach people how to use the web shop. So the first month is going to have $100,000 in marketing cost and $40,000 in income. So we're $60,000 in the red from the business side and $150,000 from the IT side. So that's $210,000 in an initial investment. Then after that, we're going to see during lockdown, we're going to be making $40,000 a month from the web shop, and we have $15,000 in cost. So that's $25,000 profit per month. After lockdown, the turnover or the contribution margin is going to be only $20,000, and we still have the $15,000 cost. So that's going to be only $5,000 per month that we'll be making from the web shop. When we have these numbers, then we can calculate the payback period. The payback period is the time it takes for the business to recoup the initial investment. So if we assume that we have a 3-month lockdown, then we're going to have the expensive first month. We're going to have 2 good months, good for the web shop. Then we're going to end up with the numbers I've quoted with a payback period of 35 months. If we have a 6-month lockdown, we have 3 more months that will bring in more turnover in the web shop. Then we're going to have 23 months payback period. The payback period can be compared across all projects. And that's why IT needs to go into this discussion saying, this is the business benefit, this is the IT cost, and what is the payback period? If we have the payback period, then the business can compare the payback period for this project, say 35 months. That might be a good payback period. It might say, okay, makes sense, go do. Or it might be, 35 months, that's a long time to wait before we get our money back. We have this other project that has nothing to do with IT, but has a better payback period, a shorter payback time. And then the organization should run with that project. So in IT, we need to be part of the business case discussion so that the organization knows what the payback period is, because then the organization can make informed decisions about IT investments. Thank you for watching Beneficial Intelligence, a weekly podcast with stories and pragmatic information for CIOs and other IT leaders. If you like this content, please spread the word. If you have comments, please get in touch. See you next week.